Good morning. Erica is out of the office today, so I have the pleasure of kicking off the Fireside Chat on this day of October 31st. I can't help but wonder, with the sea of orange and black, what might be going on today. Happy Halloween. I just realized I completely failed to wear my bat little head bracelet that I usually wear. Darn it, I forgot that part of my prop today. So welcome to the Fireside Chat. It's great to see everyone. It's hard to believe that we are already rolling into November. It's just amazing, and holiday season is fast approaching. Before we move into the agenda, I wanted to just take a moment to talk about mentorship for a couple of reasons. One, we need more people coming into the field of aging services. We have a cohort of a lot of retirement eligible staff, not only here at Horizon House, but across the country. In fact, when I go to conferences, I do see a lot of individuals who are talking about retirement. And so it is important for us as staff, and I would welcome all of you as residents when you are talking to family members, friends, mentor them, talk to them about the field of aging services. You live here, you collaborate with staff. And the other reason why I wanted to highlight mentorship is to express my own appreciation and gratitude for the mentorship all of you provide to us as staff. I continue to feel blessed to be surrounded by smart, intelligent people who have a lot of experience. And I thank you, and I know our staff appreciate the relationships and the mentorship and coaching, whether you realize it or not, that you are providing. I'm looking at a mentor right now who has meant so much to me, and that is Dr. George Counts. Because during the COVID outbreak, I cannot tell you the invaluable mentorship Dr. Counts provided to me and to the Horizon House, what is now the Community Health Task Force. And there are many others in addition to George, so thank you, George. So please continue doing the gift of mentorship that so many of you do on a daily basis. Thank you for that. Moving on to a full agenda. I'm going to kick it off in just a moment with some brief updates, and then Christy is going to come up and update you on some West Tower activities that have been happening throughout the last few weeks. And Brenda will come up and introduce some of the new team members who have joined the community. Linda is here today. This is her weekend day. So Linda, thank you so much for being available to be here and to talk to you about inner well-being and spirituality and her future plans. And Amanda is going to talk to us about the resident satisfaction experience survey that you recently participated in. Brian will have more updates on the West Wing wind down. And Lorraine is going to join us to talk about the fun West Wing farewell coming up. Jeff will update us on some upcoming attractions for culinary services, followed by Marcia Almquist, and then we'll wrap it up with announcements and bright spots. So you have plenty of time to rest up for the Halloween party this afternoon. The Community Health Task Force does, believe it or not, continue to meet, not as often, but we do periodically. And we did talk about the upcoming vaccine events that took place recently. Thank you for all who were able to join us for the actual events themselves on both the 22nd, Wednesday, and Friday the 24th. We had 157 of you residents who came through. That's about 41% of the total resident population. And for assisted living, we have 53 participants, or 78% of those. And for staff at those two events, we had 54 come through, or 21% of our staff. Now, many of you I know have already received your vaccines outside at appointments, and same with assisted living residents. The majority of the rest of the residents had already had doctor appointments in the pipeline and just chose to get their vaccines there. And so, of course, there is still time to get vaccines at nearby pharmacies, or doctor offices, even some grocery stores that you may go to who have pharmacies. Easterns is not too far away on Minor and James. They take walk-ins. You do not need to schedule appointments. I know some of you have let me know it's been very easy to just slide right in, get your appointments. And if you are up for a good ambitious walk, they're about a mile away from here. Again, on Minor and James in the medical dental building, first floor as soon as you enter. Vaccine reporting. The task force did make the recent decision that because COVID is now just an everyday part of life, just as the flu occasionally is, as is the common cold. So we are now no longer going to be tracking vaccines. So thank you for those who have called me over the years. You can take a break from that. And unless we encounter, heaven forbid, some future public health emergency, then we may go back to wanting to understand who all has received vaccines. But for now, we certainly will have a record of who participated in any on-site vaccine events, but do not need to worry about calling me. What's important is to let your providers know when you've had your vaccines, especially if outside of your provider's office, for your medical records. And finally, just a reminder, we're in that typical cold flu season. I do want to just please ask that if any of you, and staff as well, if any of you are not feeling well, please stay in your apartments. If you need to be out for essential errands, put your mask on. We just want to be good neighbors and be mindful of transmission. So I know that for some of you, you may think you just have a cold. You test for COVID, it's negative. Very commonly, those who actually do have COVID may not convert to a positive test result until 3 to 5 days after active symptoms. So even if you are testing negative with cold symptoms, any upper respiratory, please mask up. I would encourage you not to dine with others because the mask would be off. So let's just try to keep everyone as healthy as we can so that we can avoid having the massive transmission to where it becomes more impactful. So without further ado, I'm going to call Christy up to give you some updates on West Tower activities.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see so many faces here. Wow, Horizon House has had a couple historic days recently. On October 20th, a week ago Monday, the board approved the guaranteed maximum price contract with Anderson to build the West Tower, and they approved a borrowing resolution to go ahead and get financing for that building. Historic, yes, thank you, yes. That same week, the Washington State Housing Finance Commission approved issuing bonds on Horizon House's behalf. They are the financing vehicle. We needed their approval in order to do that. Oh, I'm being told I didn't advance my slide. There we go. So they are on board with our project and are ready to issue bonds on our behalf. In addition, that same week, we got the renewal from Fitch Ratings, who rates our bonds, telling investors how risky our investment is here at Horizon House. We were downgraded to a double B. We were a double B plus previously, but it was with a stable outlook, which is great. We expected to be downgraded. We expected it to be another downgrade. We got downgraded 2 years ago when the West Tower project was announced, and we did expect them to downgrade us again. So we are at a double B with a stable outlook, which is great, because before we were a double B plus with a negative outlook, and we did not want to go to market with a negative outlook. So we were happy that they changed that. The rating commentary from Fitch was very positive. even though it was a downgrade, they see the benefit of the West Tower project to the future of this organization, and they pretty much stated that in their commentary. Once we had the rating, we were able to publish the preliminary offering statement. This is the book that all of the investors are looking at right now. Tells you everything you want to know about Horizon House's financials, the bond deal, all of the terms and conditions that will be in the bond deal. It is here, and they are perusing that right now. Once we had the offering statement out, we were able to start marketing the bonds. So that's Ziegler's task. That's what the role Ziegler does for us. They are out actively marketing our bonds today. So we are looking at pricing the bonds the week of November 10th and closing a few weeks later in mid-December. So that is our timeline today. It's shifted just a couple weeks because everything needs to align when we close, and that's what we needed to do to get everything aligned. So first bullet point up there, 128 reservations. Don and the sales team have really done a great job getting us to that 60% mark so that we feel confident going to market with our financing now. So we had an initial goal of 70, but that was when we were going to finance in the first quarter. We had to pull it back because we were concerned that the Trump administration was going to take away some private activity bonds that we are needed to get this deal done. So we moved the schedule to be financing in the fourth quarter rather than in the first quarter. Therefore, we had less time to get to that 70%, but we hope that by the end of December, we can be at that 70% mark. So what does the activities for marketing the bonds look like? Well, you see here, we had an online investor webinar last Friday. We had about 50 attendees, which according to Ziegler was much higher than they have seen in their other investment webinars that they've been holding recently. Lori Erickson and I participated, as well as Alex Tibbetts, Marcia Almquist, and Mike Meekum from the board. Sawgrass and Ziegler, of course, were there as well. So we pretty much presented the project as it is, the financing, whatever investors needed. We had questions, time for Q&A during the webinar, and Ziegler's impression is that it went very well. So happy with that. And then you may have noticed a large group of people on site this last Wednesday. That was our on-site investor visit. Again, the same group of folks participated in that, as well as Don, who gave a very nice independent living tour. Bonnie gave a nice assisted living tour. And then I want to thank Dave and Catherine Huff for sharing their apartment. We got to go in and look at their beautiful apartment, as well as Marcia Almquist, who opened her apartment for the investors to take a look at. And they were all very impressed. It was very helpful having residents talk directly to investors so that they understand why you chose Horizon House. And that is all I have right now. So I'm going to turn it over to Brenda.
Good morning. Happy Halloween. So I have some new staff to introduce to you today. We have Regina, who has joined us as an elder care assistant in assisted living. Gigi Woods, who you probably have seen at the front desk. You'll probably encounter her quite a bit. She's our new front desk associate. And JoJo in our dining services as a cook. And those are all of our new staff since our last Fireside chat. And we have a couple of milestones. So as a reminder, milestones are every 5 years of service at Horizon House. And we recently celebrated Lavelle, who some of you may know. He is our security officer who's been here for 20 years. As well as Tanley, one of our dishwashers with Morrison for 5 years. And that's everyone for this month. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Linda.
I gotta figure out how to do this. Oh, okay, perfect. So you've heard rumors, and I'm here to affirm them. And I want to say something about what Lori just said about mentoring. When I first came here, one of the things that Bob Anderson invited me to consider was having a circle of members. I called it my wisdom circle. And I had 10 residents as a part of this group. All across the board, some were had faith traditions, Buddhist, Jewish, Christian, evangelical, some were secular humanists, we had Paul Wiesner was one of them, Paul Niebank was one of them, Bill Anderson were one of them, Nancy Brett. And these people I met with once a month for a year. And they were so helpful in helping me understand the community, helping me understand what activities they wanted that were worth supporting and how to do that. They were the wordsmiths for so many things I started with, and I wouldn't be here this long if it weren't for that wonderful circle of wisdom. I'm so grateful for them. So many of you know me, but may not know much of what my role entails. So I'm just going to briefly put that in there. You'll also see it in the New Outlook magazine. Many of you know me as inner well-being and spirituality, but what does that mean? So I coordinate and support and lead events for holy days, both Jewish and Christian, holidays, inner well-being and spirituality events. I lead 4 groups. 2 of them are support groups, and 2 of them are discussion groups. And actually, let me put this out there. There, that's better. Discussion groups. My colleague Bill Comfort leads the men's group. He visits people and he does weekly worship. But I also provide one-on-one listening, counseling, and grief support. Plus, I get to know as many residents as I possibly can. I provide flowers in the new assisted living residents just to give their rooms some color. Most often when they move in there, they don't have their pictures on the wall yet. It's kind of stark. They're kind of new. They don't know what to do, even though you've been here for years. So having this bouquet of flowers and letting me get to know them a little bit in a different way has really been a gift. I've supported and companioned many residents to the end of their lives, plus supported their families afterwards. And as many of you have seen, I've led or officiated at many of the resident memorials here. But I also, with the help of Megan Helso, do the remembrance services for our deceased residents from assisted living, and we usually have 2 or 3 of those a year. I've led many of the community memorials for multiple residents who have passed within a specific period of time. And I put together a memorial notebook that's in the library. We have several of them from over the years. The last one in there is the one I put together from the year 2021 to 2024. And I'm working on this year's notebook, which will be left in there for the next person to add to. So my time here will be 11 years in January. That's the that's the longest I've ever been anywhere. I turned 70 this year, and my husband turned 71. And our bodies and spirits are telling us it is time to retire. So while my plan is to leave in the spring, possibly the end of March, I also often hear the saying, if you want to make God laugh, make plans. So it is our plan, then, to move to Southwest New Mexico for my husband's health, and it is his turn. We are working on the preparation needed to hire who comes next. And it may need to be a nationwide search. It took them 9 months to find me, even though I was right here. But that was because every time I heard about Kizzy retiring, I kept referring it to someone else until Terry Tigan called me. So hopefully someone can be hired near the beginning of the year so there's enough overlap for me to train them. So what's next? There are some events here that I still want to lead, such as a community memorial for residents who've passed last year and one in January for those who've passed this year. because it helps us as a community with the cumulative grief that we acquire of 50 deaths a year. That is the average of who we lose every year. Sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little higher. And so we want to honor these friends, these neighbors together, and our losses. I would also like to present the life journey story of my grandmother, Myrtle Edwards. Nobody's heard it, including me, the way that it will be presented. Bobby Spaeth, who was a reporter that was mentored by Myrtle, is helping me do the research and working on it, and help me learn even about some of my ancestry that I had no idea of. So much like Kathy Gunstone did for her father, Robert Durham, I hope to do that for Myrtle. And finally, to do what I need to do to prepare for my leave. One of the things is I've taken some books out of the meditation room, and I hope to put them in 3 areas of our library, one for grief support, one for dementia, and one for caregiving. So this has been a very creative role here, and I trust that whoever replaces me will also be creative and will make the role their own. However, you will be the ones who have the most influence on what they do. Every group and every event that I lead comes out of the requests of all of you. I'm not an activity director that comes with all my own ideas. Everything has come from 1 or 2 or more of you. So my role is to serve you, not to lead you. You don't need that. And that's what my hope that next person will be. We will be looking for another chaplain, not an MSW. It's not an MSW's job, even if they have counseling skills. Nor is it a mental health therapist's job, even a pastor. So about 28 years ago, Nancy Holleran, which many of you knew as Nancy Edquist, worked as a counselor here. She had a master's in psychology, and so she worked here as a counselor for the residents. And when she retired, the CEO then, Bob Anderson, as in Anderson Hall, asked her, okay, what kind of person should replace you? And she replied, you need a chaplain. And he's like, a chaplain? She said, yeah, not just another counselor. So we asked her why. She said, because most of the residents who came to me for help or support were experiencing existential crises. That's not a religious crisis. It's about meaning. It's about life and death. It's about the deeper parts of who we are. And that is not what a typical counselor does. That is how our spiritual care department got started. So why a chaplain, you may ask? Let me tell you. A pastor's job, or religious leader's job, usually entails teaching, preaching, and helping people know what to believe based on their faith tradition. A chaplain's job is to support people in what they already believe, no matter what that is. You've never heard me try to convert anybody, even though poor Joan, first day I got here, wanted to make sure I wasn't going to do that to her. So a board-certified chaplain is required to complete a year's residency in a clinical setting, learning how to listen without interrupting with their own story, making it about them. A chaplain is trained in multiple faith traditions and also to support people with none. And they are required to earn 50 hours of continuing education credits a year, which is one of the highest of all the helping professions. Why my brain is tired. Plus, they can lead or support spiritual events when needed, including memorials. I've never seen an MSW do a memorial unless they did it with me. We are also looking into bringing in a chaplain friend of mine, I hope, working on a 3-year grant program to lead small groups in a retirement community. She's been working at Virginia Mason for several years as theirs, but one of her passions is to learn how to do small groups and to do them with people who are older and who have life experience and thoughts and deep longings And she is going to be here, hopefully, we'll see, as being able to bring groups here, which is great because that will mean that the person who follows me doesn't have to have that expertise. It's not a typical chaplain thing. It's something I learned, my husband and I learned together. So, I lost my place, sorry. That way, besides not having someone to do small groups, my hope is that a person like her or even her may stay longer to continue the small groups that we have. And I hope she'll get to see what we do have and whether it's worth continuing. Besides, you all have what you need to lead some of these groups. So what's ahead? The meditation room will be rebuilt in the hallway next to the bistro. It will be larger and more accessible than the one that you may not even know that we had on the A level, which was in the West Wing, and it's been there since 2008. It was Kizzy's office before it was a meditation room. So Eli Lemansky has agreed to oversee the creation and decoration of this room, as meditation is one of the passions of his, and I bet you didn't even know it. But thank you, Eli. We will be looking for another UCC chaplain at first. This person will also represent Horizon House to our local UCC conference per our bylaws. Now, UCC, or United Church of Christ, is actually a scary word for many of you, but it's one of the most liberal of all the Christian denominations, or what they call progressive Christianity. Some have used the word UCC, or the acronym, to describe us as Unitarians considering Christ. So for this tradition, social justice is the evidence of one's faith. It's not a set of rules that tell you how to live or who's bad or who's good. It's really about caring about the other. And that's what this place does anyway. So for this tradition, the support that we also, by the way, support everyone to have the right to love whom they choose and be who they are, no matter what they were born into. They were one of the first denominations to ordain people who were from the LGBTQ community, one of the first to start marrying people as soon as it was legal, and we used to do weddings before it was legal. And they have the right to be who they are, no matter what they were born into. So I hope that the other chaplain will be able to, that joins this department, I also hope, that beyond that, when the West Tower is built, and we have 200 and some new residents, that we will have the ability to have another chaplain join us. Technically, a chaplain is only supposed to support 300 people. That's in the chaplain guidelines. That's a national guidelines. So to try to have one person do that, or 1.5 people, when you have more than 500 or 600 people, will be impossible. And what I'm hoping for that kind of person is that it will be someone who will be a non-affiliated spiritual but not religious one. Sometimes they call them the nuns, which is really N-O-N-E-S, and it's a dumb name because they aren't none. They have beliefs and they have support, but they are not affiliated with any particular faith tradition. I will be available until I'm not, and will not be allowed to return to Horizon House for 2 years per our UCC requirements. So it's one of the reasons I'm leaving the state, because I wouldn't be able to stay away from you. I will miss you all. This has been the most fulfilling place I have worked in my entire life. You have become my friends, and many of you have become like family to me, and I will never forget you. I'm also not able to stay here today for the whole amount, so if you have questions for me afterwards, my office is right next to Grandma's room.
I'm going to cry. Um, Thank you, Linda. All right, for realsies, that was intense. All right, so I'm Amanda Rubel, your Director of Resident Experience. I'll just kind of make this a little less emotional by talking about something very practical, which is ride shares. Raise your hand in the group. Are you using Uber or Lyft to get around town these days? Yes. Have you noticed that it's getting a little easier as of this week? Yay! I will acknowledge Dave Huff, who came to me several months ago and was like, Amanda, this has got to be easier. Because I think, as you all know, right, you put in your receipts, the reception team would put it in one thing, Jess would put it in another, then it would go to your balance, then Sandy would put it in your bill, and whoa, you would get your reimbursements, but there were lots of little fingers that touched it before it came your way. So per Dave's suggestion, we started to do a little bit of research and found that our friends at Uber and Lyft have some really great turnkey programs just to provide you Uber and Lyft credits. I would like to encourage you, if you have not done so yet, swing by Jess's desk. She's got these super easy forms. She will sign you up. I don't even think it requires any effort from you. I think you end up just all of a sudden, you fill out the form and then your app automatically starts crediting you $15 a ride anytime you leave Horizon House or come home from Horizon House. So if you're doing other things like flying to the airport, if you're visiting family in San Francisco or something like that, it won't work. But if you're coming or going from Horizon House, you get these $15 credits. So it's great. I highly recommend, if you haven't signed up, that you get that on your calendar to do. She's working through doing the same thing with Yellow Cab. It's not quite as technical. I know a lot of folks like the cabs because you can see them, you know what you're looking for. They just don't quite have the technology in place that our big tech guys do. So stay tuned for more enhancements to that, but definitely take advantage. Linda alluded to this. This is our Outlook magazine, which is our annual report. It is hot off the press this week. And in fact, I will show you, there's a beautiful spread. I felt like I knew all about Linda because there's a beautiful spread on Linda here. Emily Wallace did all of this. So this was her first time being editor-in-chief for the Outlook magazine. It's a beautiful narrative of 2024, some great highlights on all the things that showcase living well at Horizon House. So thank you to everybody who helped contribute to building this with Emily. She's going to have hard copies in the mailroom after this meeting. I think in the past, what you can do is take it, read it, and then return it. If you want to keep a copy, if you're in here, you want to show it to your kids, grandkids, by all means, keep a copy. But, once you look through it, you can always return it to the mailroom so someone else can enjoy. Emily jokingly said, if you have any criticisms, you can hold them until next week. So she wants to enjoy the fruits of her labor for a little bit first. But it's beautiful. You guys are really going to enjoy it. Also wanted to just touch base pretty quickly on our annual resident survey. So thank you to everyone who participated. We ran it for about 3 weeks, Sunday, October 5th through the 24th. We did several emails, so you guys probably got lots of reminders in your emails, had the notification and alerts, and then Although the survey's anonymous, we are able to track and trace emails, so we know which emails are opened and what you click through. So we could kind of notice who wasn't opening their emails, and so we cubby stuffed for you guys. So so thank you. I got a few things that way too. So, and in fact, I found a few more completed surveys. So I think we're up to probably like 262 or so. So thanks for everybody. I think we did hit our 70% goal. So that's great. 430 open-ended comments, which are always the fun things to read. A lot of the questions are the same because we do want to have a year-over-year comparison to see how we do. But hopefully you're starting to see this and how we're serving you here. But we really did add a lot more service questions in there, service, professionalism, responsiveness. So we're really trying to dig into things that we can do here to serve you better. So there were a lot more of those questions this year. Just some real top line. We're very happy. So overall experience, the question is, how would you rate your overall experience at Horizon House? 52% excellent, 35% very good, no poor, thank you, a little bit of fair. But we felt really good about this. This in 2024 we were 46% excellent. So we saw kind of a migration up to folks that feel like they're getting excellent customer service, excellent resident service. So I'm glad to see that. The other thing we ask year over year is Net Promoter Score, which is always a little complicated. But it's would you recommend, or how likely are you to recommend Horizon House to friends and family? And it's how many people are promoters saying yes, yay, Horizon House, how many people are detractors saying, ooh, no, I'd never live there. And then it takes away the neutrals. And so you can see, so last year we were at a 53 Net Promoter Score, which is very good, by the way. But this year, even higher at 66. So that made me feel good too. I think like I said, we're really trying to make this a great place to live. So feel confident with that. This is very top line because, like I said, the survey closed last week, so I haven't had time to really dive into much. So our next steps, we're evaluating the data. I've shared it with the leadership team. Also start working with department leaders to share feedback. For everyone here, we'll have small group sessions. November's looking very busy. December's kind of crazy, but maybe the first of the year we'll do some small group sessions where we can really dive into the feedback, get your feedback, and talk through the results. And continue to build and improve based on what you've told us. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Emily, great job on the outlook. If there's compliments, you can give those today too, because there'll be ton. Is that okay, Em? And then the opportunities, very few that we'll have, they can come later. But congratulations. That was, I was in a meeting with Emily, and it was a sigh that it was concluded. And she's very proud, and she should be. She did a great job. So thank Emily. I just wanted to thank you again. I mean, to have her in our holster as one of our communication persons that just produced that's fantastic. So I have a couple others that are going to give updates under my umbrella of updates, and so I'd ask Sean to come up and our chief engineer to give us some updates that he has for us. He's been very busy on some projects as usual.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, just wanted to take a moment to put this on everyone's radar. We have a really exciting fire alarm modernization project. It might not be exciting for everyone here, but it is for me. It's going to definitely get us into a much better position, especially for our West Tower, being able to fully upgrade our entire campus from a system that was installed 20 years ago, originally with the North Tower, and over the 20 years has been expanding throughout the rest of the campus. What that gets us is an inconsistent system. While it might all be the same system, they're all installed at different times, different versions, different equipment. So now this project will be modernizing all of that, including the brain that we see here that controls everything. We'll be upgrading all the field devices as well. So it'll be one consistent system throughout the entire campus, which is going to really be great. Yeah, and you're not seeing all the devices. Those field devices would be, your smoke detectors in your apartments, duct detectors that you're maybe not going to see, but the one you're most familiar with would be the smoke detectors in your apartment. And that equipment is going to be a more up-to-date version, obviously, that we know will have less false alarms, that's more refined in its detection. And so with the intent of avoiding those false alarms. So I'm sure everyone will be happy to have that. Yeah, it's really exciting. It will take several weeks, if not 2 or 3 months to complete. We will be starting in November, and we will be accessing IL apartments and do not require the resident to be present for those to access that apartment. AL residents will be coordinated with separately, as there's kind of a different scope on the assisted living floors. And yeah, there will be more information coming from communications. If there's any questions, I will be available to speak more because I don't want to bore everyone with the details. But yeah, did you have a question?
I wondered if there's a way to turn the announcement that goes on and on for 20 minutes and is so loud. Is there a way?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, the question was, is there a way to turn down the volume of an announcement? We recently got some of that feedback, and it was actually part of this upgrade project. They've already started implementing some of the modernizations, and what you would have noticed in this instance was a change in the voice notification. And when we changed the voice to what is now a female voice, it got a lot louder. And so we've since finding that information out and receiving the feedback, thank you, and we've made some adjustments already and have reduced the decibel level because we did find it was at 90 decibels, which for everyone's information here, a range can go all the way up to 120 decibels. And so we were far below that, but it can go as low as 80. And so we're trying to get as low as we can go without, impacting the ability of being notified in a real emergency. So yeah, there's a lot of, we're working with an incredible team, and I'm just one of many that are orchestrating all of this, and it's going to help us get into the best position we've ever been in terms of fire alarm system with this upgrade. So really excited about it. Any other questions? I'd be happy to talk more after the fireside chat. I'll be right outside.
Thank you, Sean. This is an example of Horizon House investing again in our community. And some of these like this are behind the scenes perhaps that you won't see, where some are much more obvious, but Horizon House continues to invest in the community. So with that, Brian's gonna talk about some transportation information for us.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Halloween. I had an epiphany as I was standing here about a spooky costume I could use this evening when trick-or-treating, and I realized I just need to be a fire alarm. So I'll save Mark's costume for later. He'll share that after at our facilities Friday. But anyways, I had a couple updates regarding transportation I wanted to share. Last Friday was a very exciting day at Horizon House. We were able to have a presentation with a partner called ZEV about our internal private community car share program. I'm surprised I got all that out correctly the first time. What this is, what ZEV is a co-op that we've partnered with that aligns a lot with our values of Horizon House, sustainability being one of those. It is a car share program that is 100% electric vehicles. ZEV actually stands for Zero Emissions Vehicles. So all of the cars within their fleet are electric vehicles. What we have set up is a first of their kind with ZEV. We are a private community where the car that we have, which is pictured here, the Ioniq 5, a 2005 Ioniq 5, that car is only available for Horizon House residents that enroll within the ZEV program, okay? So if anyone's used a car share before, and Zip is a very popular one, and pulled up all the available vehicles as an example, other users of the ZEV platform will not be able to see our vehicle because it's our vehicle. This is just kicked off. There are several residents, I think several within the room, I'm glad you're here, that are in the process of enrolling that I will follow up with you. Some have left messages as recently as yesterday evening, which is great to see that coming my way. I'm going to help people through this process with our ZEV partners. To be enrolled in a user, there is a motor vehicle records check that goes with the ZEV orientation. There is an enrollment that is $55 that includes that motor vehicle records check. This was a very big presentation with a lot of information. We've got some informational booklets that we've printed up that I will provide if anyone would like them. I'll drop some with the concierge as well. And there's also our ZEV partners that are a part of the orientation process. So during that process, that's a great time to really get any questions answered, but we have a lot of information on it. It was recorded. It is available to rewatch. And they also offer ride-alongs. I did not make this announcement last week during the presentation. It did go a little long. But if ZEV is not available for a resident ride-along for one of their first trips, I will make myself available. This is a very big deal for our community, and if you're comfortable with it, I would be more than happy to ride along in the vehicle with you on your first trip. Okay. I've enrolled myself. I've gone through the process myself, and it's pretty painless, but it is new. It is new. So I will make sure that everyone has that opportunity to speak with me, and I'll follow up with the residents that are in the enrollment process currently. My next announcement is about guest parking and parking overall. I can feel the energy in the room with that announcement. But I do want to let everyone know I've got some good news at the end of this slide, okay? I understand there's a lot of anxiety and stress around the coming changes. I'm in that boat with you, but we're going to get through this together, okay? We've got some great leaders that are planning this with myself and Michael and Brian Holtz, and we've got a lot of good plans solidified and some others that we're still trying to finalize. But as we know, one of the major impacts of the West Tower coming down is the parking capacity we're losing when that comes down. We do recognize that as a very big concern. So we're changing our operations, okay? And one of those changes is that Terry Garage is going to be transitioning to 100% valet. And we've been trying to share this information since late March. So hopefully it's not a shock and surprise, but I do understand there's a lot of information coming out now. Terry Garage is going to be transitioning to full valet. One of the reasons for that is we can highly increase the capacity of vehicles that we put into the Terry Garage, okay? The more vehicles we have over in the Terry Garage, the more capacity opportunities we have at our University Garage for guests and visitors, okay? So I know that this is a change from going from driving into parking in your own parking spot. It's going to be a valet service over there soon. I'll follow up on those dates at the end of this slide. As a reminder, if possible, anyone that's coming as a guest to visit you, if they're able, I realize not everyone's able, please, solicit using public transportation, using Uber or Lyft, using a taxi. We have a great availability of Ubers and Lyfts in Seattle city limits. I want to take this moment to thank Jess for all the wonderful work she's done for us internally. But if anyone that raised their hand earlier that has ridden Uber or Lyft, you know that it does not take long for them within the city limits. That's a big advantage of being in the downtown core. We will also be providing a list, I have it ready for Jess, for nearby parking opportunities for guests and visitors when we do not have capacity at Horizon House. There are 8 options that we've listed that are all within a quarter mile. We do have the advantage of having a lot of different opportunities nearby for when we do have our garages full. So here's some good news I would like to share. One update for our University Garage self-parking residents. We do have a handful of residents that self-park their vehicles on E-level in the University Garage. Starting Monday, the 17th of November, those residents will be a part of our valet at the University Garage, okay? We're gonna have to start valeting every single vehicle that enters our University Garage starting Monday, November 17th. The reason being is that we will not have access to the West Wing elevators, okay? So we don't feel comfortable having residents walking up the garage drive. We feel that's an unsafe practice. So we will be valeting the residents that currently self-park their vehicles on E-level of the University Garage, okay? That's one of our updates. The update that I'm excited to share today is related to the week of Thanksgiving. We had previously communicated that we were planning on having all of our vehicles that are resident vehicles relocated to the Terry Garage the week before Thanksgiving. We are anticipating that we are not going to have to do that until December 9th or 10th. Okay, so why do I have some excitement sharing that today? Is that means that during the week of Thanksgiving, we will have the same capacity for guests and visitors that we have today. Okay. That is a big week. We recognize that. We've been in close communication with our Anderson construction partners about what the physical impacts are once we have that building in their possession. And one of them was about parking. And they stated that they're not going to be having any parking impacts that week. So for guests and visitors that are coming to visit Horizon House during a very busy week, where oftentimes even with the capacity we have now, we fill up, it will be the same capacity the week of Thanksgiving that we currently have where we stand today on October 31st, okay? So hopefully that relieves a little bit of stress. For those residents, that vehicles will be getting relocated over to the Terry Garage. More communication will be coming to you individually from Michael, because we understand there's going to be questions about the process of the keys and those types of things. And at that time, we'll be well in advance of the change actually happening. We'll communicate those with you, okay? So thank you, everyone. I've had a lot of resident communication about parking and transportation and car share. I want to thank you because I understand and I do sympathize with the changes. There's a lot of changes and a lot of impacts coming with this project, but it's reminded me of the resilience of this group of people in this room, and we're going to make sure that this is as smooth as a transition as possible. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, it's nice that for that Thanksgiving holiday, we'll still be able to have guests and visitors come and park, whereas we were concerned. So I wanted to provide some West Wing updates. And so there have been communications placed on HH Connect. Thank you again, Emily, and the communications team. Is that the Monday market is moving up, as we know, to the East Tower Level 3. They had their last Monday market on Monday. Did folks go down there on Monday? Oh my gosh, it was so busy. The volunteers and the co-chairs were so busy and did such a great job. It was fantastic. Well, we found out that due to Seattle Fire Code, we have to have different sprinklers covering a space that's not an apartment that is now transitioning to what's called mercantile or a market. And we learned that we would be able to change the sprinkler heads out until the vendors came on site and walked it more recently than we would have hoped, and discovered that more extensive work is required. Therefore, we cannot move Monday Market up to the East Tower Level 3 that we thought would be pretty much done by now because the market closed on Monday. So we were I was very disappointed. Yet when I met with the co-chairs, as usual, they're fantastic. Jennifer and Elizabeth are here. They were fantastic, very understanding. We pivoted, had some plans. Then the plans changed again this week, didn't they? And we pivoted again. So we're going to be relocating all of their items off-site at the church, and so they worked very hard with Segway to get all their items packed up. Their volunteers did a ton of work to get boxes of donations. They've been fantastic. The B3 Goodwill got a little overflowing down there, and so that'll continue to happen. So another change is the Monday market, due to this delay, cannot accept donations. So we'll get some signage up on the donation spots, so please help us with not donating items so that then the Monday market volunteers that are getting a well-deserved break don't have to take things to the Goodwill, that you can take it down to B3 for those drop-offs. So huge thank you to the Monday market co-chairs. You're fantastic to work with. They're gems, as you guys all know. Thank you very much. They're fantastic. So our plan is to be moving all of the resident storage lockers to the church on November 3rd. Yet while I was in this meeting, I got a message the movers want to talk to me. So I'm hoping I'm not having to pivot again. But our plan is to start moving over to the church on the 3rd. We thought maybe we could do the transportation for residents because you're going to want to go see where your locker is. Totally understand. But I'm still moving other items the week of the 10th. So I'm hoping that if you have a storage locker impacted, to take into consideration it may be a couple weeks till we can get that transportation set up. Brian has a shuttle van that we'll be using, and we understand there'll be higher volumes at the very beginning. We also have the resident volunteers with durable medical equipment down on E-level, and we just are really squeezed on space. So we'll be placing those at the church temporarily until we can have the space up on East Tower level 3. So when it comes back, we'll still only have limited space. So some of their items will be stored at the church. So there may be a little more, as can be expected, delay if one of us needs something that they have for us to get it from the church here. So we appreciate your understanding and coordination on that. Brian alluded to the West Wing closure. So on Monday, we'll be putting up some temporary panels to close off the West Wing for residents and almost all the staff. So for safety reasons, we do not want residents going into the West Wing or staff, so please help us with that. We'll be counting on you to adhere to that. So you'll see one on level 1 at the corridor, down at B level where Michael Andre's office used to be as you go from the university garage across the drive, and then in the garage levels on those interior doors as well. And then the E level, of course, won't be accessible to exit to go to Freeway Park access or when you come home. We'll put a sign down there as a reminder. And so that we anticipate, and I'm planning for that to happen on the 17th. And there will still be opportunity for Sean and his team and others to do work on the insides of the building, for us to do some of that work to prepare it to hand over the building. And then lastly, I just want to thank this community, how fantastic it has been to work with all of the residents. There's so many of you that I have worked with, or we have worked with, or others have worked with you. The residents that relocated their homes, that was a very big deal. And all of the activities in the West Wing. We're not there yet, but we're very close. And it took a lot of planning and work for us to get here. And it is the sense of community. Before we started this, I talked about leaning into our values for us to get to a place, and we absolutely did. So I just want to thank all of you. We're not there yet, but we're very, very close. So thank you. And speaking of the West Wing, I think there's something coming up that Lorraine's going to talk about, that Lorraine is going to talk about. But Patty is going to talk about, because she's getting ready, as with Lorraine, speaking of the West Wing.
Lorraine called me last night. Thank you, Brian. And Brian is a big part of what I'm announcing, too. I announced it at the resident council meeting on Monday, November the 10th. there's going to be a farewell event, farewell to the West Wing, and you might have seen some notification of it. Lorraine has worked tirelessly for that. She's very big into documenting and to making memories, and she has done an immense amount of work to set this whole event up. It's for all the residents to come, and it's going to have a lot of things are going to be unveiled. You're going to have food and drink. There's going to be some music. Oh, thank you so much. I forgot that last time too. Whoops. There's going to be music. It doesn't have all the things. There's going to be a chance for making memories. As I said, it's going to be on Monday, November the 10th, and it's going to be from 6 to 8 in the evening, and we invite everybody to come to that. There'll also be painting on the walls. You can write on the walls, so that's one of the things I'm going to do. Marianne Counts is going to be doing an art project. It's going to be a really celebratory time, a time to make memories and to record our memories of the West Wing. Now, I'm wearing two hats because I suddenly realized there's something else coming up that week, and there's the art show that's coming up, the holiday sale. It's a time for you to buy Christmas presents for people and to buy things for yourself. And I have just a couple of examples. I'm wearing two hats, literally, almost. Catherine Huff has made these marvelous berets that you can buy. Also, other people, the knitting group has been knitting all year long, so we've made other hats as well. Marvelous, marvelous types of hats, absolutely. And Faith Bauer makes these marvelous stockings, Christmas stockings. I mean, you want to come and see what we have. So the knitting group, not only is there going to be art in the art room that you can buy, donated by members here, but then the knitting group is going to be out in the hallway, and we're going to have knitting things, and also the jewelry group is going to have jewelry out there. So there's a lot of stuff you can get for your holiday gifts, or for you. Thank you, and Lorraine says thank you too. What? Oh, sorry. The farewell to the West Wing is Monday, November the 10th. That Friday and Saturday. And that's why I wanted to tie the two things together. So it's the 14th and the 15th, and you're going to be getting notices of that too. Thank you. And now, Jeff.
Thank you, Patty. All right, well, happy Halloween, everyone. I kind of have a dual shirt today. You know, it plays the chorus for the Halloween celebration and for my Broncos this weekend. So, as Breyer's still in here, we're playing the Houston Texans. So, I guess he left. All right, well, I'll talk to him later. We'll see how that goes. I'll be real quick. Just want to talk about kind of hitting off what Lori's saying. I can't believe it's almost November already. So, getting into the holiday season, some things coming up for us. We have Veterans Day coming up on Tuesday, November 11th. And like we always do, we're going to feed all the veterans for free that night. So please join us that evening. Chef Joey's preparing a really nice prefix 3-course menu for that night. We've done a few of those in the past. We did it for St. Patrick's Day and an Earth Day this year, and those were very well received. So we're hoping for another nice event there. So that's on the 11th. And then Thanksgiving's coming up. So planning for that, we're going to have, like we always do, we'll do 2 seatings that day, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. No dinner service that night, so the staff can have a chance to have some Thanksgiving with their family as well. And we do require reservations for this. Pickups will be welcome as well, but if you want to dine in the dining room, please make a reservation. And for reservations, we will open those on Tuesday, November 4th at 3 p.m. at the host stand like we always do. So If you're available, come join us that day. We'll get you signed up. If you're not available that day, just shoot an email or come talk to me or Oliver or Yanni, and we'll get you signed up. We'll be signing people up throughout the whole month, so it shouldn't be an issue there. And then kind of tied into that, the next day we'll start pie sale. So a lot of folks like to buy some pies to take for their Thanksgiving celebration. So that'll open up on November 27th there, or on November 5th, my apologies. Go to the bistro, talk with Mabrat and Rose. They'll get you signed up for the pies you want. And then we'll do the pickup for the pies on November 26th, starting in the morning, about 10 a.m. So that's what I got for dining services. And I'd like to welcome Marsha Almquist. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I will be very brief because it's late. It occurred to me this morning that I should have made a costume of Wilbur and worn that to come remind you that there's just 2 weeks left for time for you to give your donations to the Employee Gift Fund. So far, 215 households have responded. We're hoping for many more, so please don't forget, and have a good weekend and enjoy the party this afternoon.
All right, we're getting on the home stretch, so bear with me for just a moment longer. For some announcements, we are in the recruitment phase right now. We hope to welcome a couple of resident new members to our Community Relations and Diversity Committee. We are extending the application deadline until Friday, November 14. Please, if you're interested, see Beth, and she would be glad to give you an application. It is a 3-year term that will be starting in January, right after the holidays. And it is a Board of Trustees committee. We have upcoming, so to believe already, quarterly small group sessions that typically Christy, Erica, and I participate in. And so they will be coming up on Tuesday, November 18th, Wednesday the 19th, and Thursday the 20th at various times, so offering some options. We do have limited capacity as we want to keep them truly small to have more intimate conversation and exchange of dialogue. So please do RSVP to Beth if you would like to come to one of those sessions. And you are welcome to submit questions in advance. We welcome that, and that deadline is on the 12th of November. And there's always time to have dialogue at the session as well with any questions. And of course, you know about the Halloween party coming up today at 2 o'clock. It should be lots of fun. For those dressing up in costumes, you are asked to gather in the main lobby at 1:45 to line up for the parade. And just in terms of some staff who will be out of the office, we do have the National Leading Age Conference that kicks off on Sunday in Boston. And so Erica and Beth actually took a red-eye flight last night so that they could enjoy some Halloween festivities today. You may not be aware, but Valerie and Camilo took a train earlier this week to Boston. Yes, and so they have arrived to Boston as well to join us in the conference. And so Erica will be out through actually all of next week. The conference ends next Wednesday, but she's going to travel on to Maine to be able to visit her son. And she'll be back in the office on the following Monday, the 10th. Beth will be out of the office through Thursday. She'll be back on Friday. I take a flight out tomorrow for Boston, along with Ronnie Budge, Marsha Almquist, and we've got several other staff members also joining us in Boston. Mark will be going, Sean. We've got a few other folks, Robert Derby. So it's a good group so that we can continuously invest in staff, in their learning, and bring back more best practices. So it will be a little bit leaner crowd, but we've got a lot of good staff in place to still run things. Eli will be joining us as well, along with Lauren. In terms of wrapping up with bright spots, we always enjoy seeing the good things that are occurring around the area. We've had a number of you attending different functions this year. Erica attended the Northwest African American Museum Gala. It was well done, I hear. And we had others attend the Casa Latina, including Henry Matthews, Jean Durning, Marcia, Mary, Peter Shapiro, Susan Platt. And then we had quite a few staff and residents attend. Actually, it was mostly staff, but a few residents attend the Atlantic Street Center Gala. We, of course, participated earlier this month in the Great Shakeout. That's an annual event for staff. We hope to include residents in the future so that we can get experience of how we respond should we have a natural disaster. We did have Diane and Bonnie did participate in the Senior Resource Fair at Magnuson Park. It's a great opportunity to feature Horizon House, get our name out there, and be a resource for the community on services. Connie Hellier. She is another one of our authors among many in this community, and she was able to launch her book, A Home for Chocolate. And I have not had a chance to get the book, but I hear it is just wonderful. And maybe, who knows, maybe it will be available at the upcoming fair. I don't know, but that would be a great thought for any Christmas ideas. We had singers, the Whippin' here from Yale University. How many of you attended that? I know it's always a large crowd that attend the music house. And this is just another one of the great work of Nancy Federici in terms of bringing just talented musicians to entertain all of you. Thank you, Nancy. Really of great caliber. Amazingly, we have had a number of centenarians in assisted living. It always ebbs and flows, of course, and so we recently celebrated 9 centenarians. Sadly, as you will have seen on the memorial board, we just did lose Lundy earlier this week. She did pass away. Her family was able to be with her, so we're grateful for that. But we have just a high number of those 100 and better and still actively contributing and engaging. It's just terrific to see. We are over time, but certainly if there are any burning questions, we are happy to take 1 or 2 and then can certainly stick around as staff. Are there any burning questions? We have one over here. Do we have a microphone? Mark is coming with the microphone.
Question. If you have locker space in the storage, do they want us to remove the lock outside the storage unit so it's left unlocked when they want to move things out November 17th?
And I am just looking to see if Brian Holtz is still here, and I don't see Brian. I don't know if, Mark, you might have an answer to that.
I think that all of the moving will be coordinated through Brian Holtz, but yeah, you'll probably get.
I have a car parked on E level. I want to know when I have to move it.
And Brian Holtz has just entered the room to answer the question about the lock and the car. Good timing, Brian.
Thank goodness for YouTube. I was watching live in my office. There was a question about storage lockers. I think it was about the locks. The request was only to those that are impacted because of security reasons. We want you to unlock your lock Sunday at the latest, because when we go down there with the movers, we want to take your lock off. We want your lock unlocked. We'll put it in a bag, put your locker number on it, so when we move, we'll put it back on your new locker. If you don't unlock it, we will cut it off, and I have new locks that I will provide you. We're planning to move the lockers on Monday, November 3rd, so therefore do that by this weekend, if you could. We do not want you in the space while the movers are working. So Mark, I think you were mentioning that. My fault, because I didn't communicate that. We want the movers to come in and do it as rapidly as possible. So as a repeat, unlock your lock if you can. If not, we'll cut it and I'll give you a new lock. Repeat the question about the vehicle. I thought I heard it was on E-level flat. Somebody had a, what was the question about the vehicle? Yeah. If you have a vehicle on E-level that you self-park, we will start valeting it for you rather than you self-park, so that you won't need to move it. We'll take care of it for you. So continue to do what you're doing, and then the valets, when you come in, will say, hey, wait, we're going to valet starting now. And we will provide each of you that self-park an individualized communication so that you know, and those that are being relocated perhaps to be valeted that is currently at university that will relocate you at Terry Garage, we'll be communicating with you as well, because we're going to assign spots at Terry so that we can squeeze into those small spots. I think another question over here, Mark, that may have me on the microphone still.
Yes, will the cars that belong to residents of the North Tower be moved into the Terry Garage?
So the question is, if I have a vehicle that is perhaps being valeted at University Garage, and we're assigning to Terry Garage, a priority would be yes, North Tower residents, we would want them all in the Terry Garage. So if by chance, because our current Terry Garage is full, and so there may be a handful of residents that live in the North Tower that are valeted and want to be valeted at University. We will, yes, great question, thank you. We will prioritize it so that it's just that set of elevators to come up rather than having somebody from the Central Tower be over here. Another question, Mark, and maybe I'm still going to be up here.
Will we be still able to have cars washed?
Yes, we'll still be able to wash vehicles as we had in the past. Yep, we can do that. So we're starting to...
I think we need to wrap
it
up,
up.
but Brian, maybe if you could stick around for a few minutes in case there are other questions. I do want to remind everyone, daylight savings starts this weekend, so make sure to set your clocks back, maybe when you go to bed tomorrow night. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Have a great Halloween party.
And a reminder that our tradition annually is the November Fireside Chat slides a little bit, and it'll be as shown on the screen December 5. And that's a busy one.
Thanks, everyone. Take good care.